Recreational Astronomy Night meeting of the Toronto Centre RASC. I'm Paul Markov, and I'll be your host for this evening. We are at the Ontario Science Centre. We have about 15 people here with us tonight. To our online viewers, a reminder that meetings have resumed at the Ontario Science Centre, so next time perhaps you can join us here in person. Now, for those who definitely cannot make it in person, we will continue broadcasting the meetings over YouTube as usual. And that's because we have a great audiovisual team here who sets all this up for us. And that's Andrew and Betty Reed. And we have Ward LeGros here. We're missing a couple of folks tonight, but typically they help us out. That's Ennio Cilucci and Reza Mohammed as well. As you know, I'm always on the lookout for presentations. I'm glad to say that the September meeting is full. We have openings for the October 4 meetings and later. A reminder that our meetings happen on the first Wednesday of each month. We have 3 presentations for you this evening as usual. Claudio Oriani will present the sky this month. Followed by Ralph Chu, and he'll tell us about his visit to the Perth Observatory in Australia. And then Frank Dempsey will talk to us about forecasting the location of wildfire smoke in relation to observing, of course. So Tom Luton, our president, will wrap up the meeting with the announcements, and we should be done by about 9:30, perhaps a bit earlier. If you're watching us online and have a question for our speakers, please enter it in the YouTube chat box, and Ward will ask the question on your behalf to the speaker. For in-room questions, put up your hand and I'll come over with a microphone. Please wait for the microphone so people online can hear your question. And do we have anybody here for the first time, whether you're a member or not? It doesn't matter. Show of hands, anybody here for the first time? Very good. Welcome. Hope to see you next time as well. And if we have somebody who's joining us online for the first time, please let us know as well through the chat box. And I think we're ready to go with Claudio and the sky this month.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, everyone. My name is Claudio, member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, Toronto Centre since 2018, I believe. And today I'm going to talk about the sky, the month of August and September. It's warm outside, so whenever it's clear, go out and look at the sky. It's beautiful. Highlights for this month. So we have a few events, but I want to focus on a few of them. So August 10, Mercury will reach the greatest eastern elongation. It's not that good for the northern observer. Unfortunately, it's only good for the southern observer. I will go more in detail. But on August 12, 13, but for the entire month, there will be the Perseid meteor shower, and go out if you can and watch this beautiful. There is no moon around, so perfect. Antares will be occulted by the moon on August 25th, and Saturn will reach opposition. We are reaching the planet season for this year, so Jupiter will join later, and we have 2 super full moon. I don't like, but you know, clickbait. We had a super moon yesterday, and we have another super moon. More than that is a super full blue moon, the end of August. And the beginning of September, there is a chance to see the Zodiacal light for a couple of weeks before morning twilight. Planets. So as I said, Mercury, it's technically visible in the evening, but is not that bright. So its magnitude is around 0.2. There is a moon that can help in a few days. Venus will disappear, but it will appear the second half of August in the morning. It will be very bright. Mars, it's hard to see and very small in diameter. Jupiter will be out for the second half of the night. Saturn will be available for the entire night. I watched Saturn a couple of nights ago. It was beautiful. Uranus and Neptune, who has a telescope, can try to find them with a map. And I will show you in a few minutes. There's so many events. I don't want to go all around of these events, but as I say, Venus will disappear, but highlight a few dates. So Perseid, Mercury, Saturn, plus a few events. The moon is occulting a couple of stars that are bright enough. So let's start with how many hours of dark sky we have to observe. So August 2nd tonight, we have 14 hours and 32 minutes of daylight. That means that we only have 5 hours and 30 minutes of darkness between 10:30 and 4 a.m. But by September 6th, when the next meeting will be here, we have reached 1 hour and 4 minutes more dark sky. So that's good. 7 hours for 1 minute of darkness. That's good news for astronomers. And let's go to the sun. The sun is approaching X maximum, so please don't never look directly at the sun. So you need special filters and certified solar eclipse glasses or telescope solar filters or special telescopes. This picture, by the way, has been taken by my friend Jeff a few days ago, and there are so many sunspots and also prominences. So I know that someone here has an hydrogen alpha telescope and is sharing pictures that are beautiful. Let's go with the moon. So today the moon is very close. I don't know if you can hear. The tides are very high, but at the end of August it's even closer, by probably 200 kilometers closer. And these are the phases of the moon. So the last quarter will be on August 8. A new moon, good news for astronomers again, it's going to be on August 16, and that's very good for the Perseid meteor shower, because the moon is not disturbing too much. And then I want to go to the next full moon, a blue moon. The blue moon is the second full moon of the month. Actually, I discovered that the real blue moon is the 4th full moon consecutive, but they decided that blue moon, it's easy to remember when the second full moon in the same month. And on average, the moon, when it's very close, is 16% brighter and 8% larger from Earth. I never noticed that before. Maybe I can take picture and see if they can spot any differences. Some events, these I discovered a few days ago from my friend Chris Vaughan in the Skylights. So on August 4, 1:10 a.m. to 2:48 a.m., that's an interesting occultation of the moon. There is a triple star in Aquarius, see Aquarius. The two of these stars will be occulted by the moon. And this will happen in Toronto. I made this screenshot from Stellarium from Toronto. So this will happen at 1:10 a.m. The first star will disappear on the northern side of the moon, and the second star will disappear a little bit after, and then will appear again. The fact that the moon has no atmosphere, the stars will just disappear instantaneously. There will be no dim of the light. And another event, always visible from here, but it's a little bit more challenging, it's the occultation of Antares in Scorpio on August 24. I'm telling that because the moon will be very low to the horizon, and when the Antares will reappear on the other side of the moon will be only 0.5 degrees above the horizon. So probably it's pretty much impossible to see from here. But try and let me know if you can. And now the highlight of the season, the Perseid meteor shower. I want to spend some minutes here. Actually, they are active between mid-July and August 25th. But the peak is usually on the nights of August 12th, 13th. And you have to be up between midnight and 5 a.m. to have more chances to see them. The maximum zenithal hourly rate is 150 meter per hour, but this is something that is ideally visible from a dark sky. From the city, probably you won't never see 100 meteors, maybe less. So suggestion for you is one, find a dark location. You don't need a telescope because they will be spread all over the places from a radiant, I will show in the next slide. And don't look directly in the direction of the radiant. It's like when you go with a car and it's raining, you see the rain coming from the window, but you see more drops of rain on the sides. And be patient. You don't go out and spot a meteor after 1 minute. So you also have to adapt your eyes at least 20 minutes to the dark. Don't look at your phone, and have a nice and comfortable chair. Zero gravity chair are perfect for that, unless you're falling asleep, and also a blanket if it's cold outside. So that's the picture, the screenshot from Stellarium. And as you see, number one is the constellation Cassiopeia that is rising around, actually is never rising because it's circumpolar from our latitude, but you see high in the sky this W constellation around midnight, even higher and higher. Another bright star you can spot is Capella on the bottom, number 2. And this year will be joined by Jupiter, number 3. And number 4 is around the constellation of Perseus. That's why the name Perseids. And there is a double cluster, H and Key Perseid. This is the direction from where the meteors are apparently moving. And this is the place you have to look, but look around to the right, to the left, to the top, and to the bottom, and be patient. There will be prizes. Let's go to the planets now. So, as I said, Mercury in August has the best opportunity in 2023 to be spotted from the Southern Hemisphere, not from here. And from the Northern Hemisphere, the magnitude is plus 0.39. So when there is still light from the sunset, never look at Mercury when the sun is still up because they're very close. I told you. And the altitude in this image is just 5 degrees. Let's go to Venus. Venus disappeared in the first half of August, and it will be visible after August 15. Inferior conjunction means that the Sun, Venus, and the Earth are aligned, so you can't see Venus. And then Venus will appear at dawn, before dawn, the second half of August. It will be very bright. Let's go to Mars. Mars is also very dim in the sky. It's technically still possible to see Mars in the evening twilight in August, but it's hard to be spotted. Maybe you have a chance on August 18 because the Moon and Mars are very close. So if you see the Moon after sunset, when the sky is dark enough, you can see the thin crescent Moon and Mars very close together. And let's go to Jupiter. It rises around midnight. You can't have mistake because it's very bright and white light. In this screenshot, it's August 8 at 0:30 a.m. And Jupiter will be 3 degrees south of the Moon. Its magnitude will be minus 241. So it's very, very easy to be spotted if you're up late at night. On September 4th, you have a chance to have a good photo op because the Moon in the center, Jupiter to the right, and the Pleiades to the left are in the same field of view. So you can use a DSLR camera to try to spot them. Let's go to Saturn, the star of the month, because on the 27th we reach its opposition and is already visible all night. By the way, this picture to the right, I took a couple of nights ago. It was 1 a.m. in the morning. I was imaging something else, but then Saturn was there and say, why don't you image Saturn as well? And there are also two moons there, Titan and I think Dione. With the rings, Saturn has the same apparent diameter of Jupiter. Without the rings, Saturn is much farther away. While Jupiter is taking 12 years to have a go around the sun, Saturn is taking 29 years. So it's much farther away. And the ring plane tilt is shrinking. In the next slide, I will show what does it mean. So the orbit of Saturn, it's inclined. And what happened, by the way, this is tomorrow night. Saturn and the Moon are very close in the sky together, only 2 degrees apart. Last year, Saturn tilting was much better to spot the rings. This year, 2023, is at 8 degrees. And then in 2025, Saturn will be showing the other side of the rings. They will disappear technically for a few days, except if you have a big telescope, you will still see the rings, like a line. And then you will see the other side of the rings. Uranus. Uranus on August 9 will be close enough to the Moon, Jupiter, and the Pleiades. So if you have a DSLR, take a picture with a high ISO, you can technically spot Uranus in your image. Good luck with that. And Neptune on August 5th will meet the Moon as well. Again, the magnitude of Neptune is 7, so it's not visible to the naked eye. Even Uranus technically is visible from dark sky if you know where to see. And by the way, that's something probably some of you already know. Galileo in 1610, with one of the first telescopes he used, there were Jupiter and Neptune very close together, and he spotted the movement of Neptune, also recorded on his register. And of course, he didn't have a powerful instrument to follow Neptune the next days, but technically he was the person who discovered Neptune. He didn't know that. And then we are already in September. Zodiacal light is the time of the equinox when there is a cone of light. It's not the Milky Way, but you can spot this triangular diffuse globe of light made of interplanetary dust. By the way, it seems like this dust is coming from Mars. And from the Northern Hemisphere, you will be visible to the east before sunrise, before twilight, but again, you need the dark side to see that. And you can also try to take pictures. This picture was taken from Argentina by Luis Argeric, and that's the link on Flickr. Comets. Not too good for comets. There is one comet that, the comet C2021 for Lemon, on July 27, so a few days ago, its magnitude was 8.7. So probably it's a good target for our latitudes, although it's fading rapidly in its magnitude. And there is another comet, the C2023 E1 Atlas, was 9.4 magnitude a few days ago again. And there is another interesting comet that was in the highlights in the next day, a few days ago. 12, it's a P because it's periodic comet. The Pons-Brooks, he had an outburst of 5 magnitude on July 20. Now it's fading, but if you can have a look, although its magnitude is 11.9, so you need the telescope that probably is at least 20 centimeter aperture to take nice pictures. You can try to spot and see if the magnitude is increasing again. It seems like this comet is not new to this outburst when it's coming close to the sun. Let's have a look at the sky. I made a map. It's today at 11:30 p.m. There is a moon, and this is spotting to southeast to southwestern horizon. And you can see the summer constellation, the teapot, Sagittarius, at the bottom. Scorpio is almost setting to the right, and of course there is part of the summer triangle. So you see Altair on the top. I will go back to this in a few minutes. And then to the left, there is the moon in Aquarius. Aquarius doesn't have many bright stars, but it's there. If you move to northeast to southeast horizon, you see that the fall constellation are starting appearing in the middle of the night. So you see Pegasus, the big square, Andromeda, with Andromeda Galaxy, Cassiopeia. Remember the Perseids are just below Cassiopeia. They're starting from there, but don't look directly there. This is where they're coming from when our orbit is meeting this dust. And then when you look northwest to northeast horizon, you see the Ursa Major going down in the sky. And southwest to northwest horizon, the spring constellation, Bootes, Hercules, are also still high and high in the sky. And I will show something about this constellation in a few minutes again. What can you see for August? So again, the summer triangle, there are 3 stars. They are, the brightest in the summer, and they're Vega, Altair, and Deneb. They look like the same brightness from here, but actually Altair is very close, only 16 light years from here. Vega is 25 light years from here, but Deneb is at 2,600 light years from here. What does it mean? It means that intrinsically, Deneb is much brighter than the other 2 stars. Altair and Vega are very bright because they're very close. You can see the galactic core, Sagittarius, with the beautiful nebula, and they're very beautiful narrowband targets. I will show you them in a few seconds. The Lagoon Nebula and the Trifid Nebula, and they're just stellar nursery. I like this concept that you can see when places where stars are born. And also lots of globular cluster. Specifically, you can see the great globular cluster in Hercules, and also, dying stars, the Ring Nebula, the Dumbbell Nebula, and so on. Our sun, in probably 5 billion years, will pass a phase of red giant. It will expand, and then it will burst into a white dwarf, and then the external layer of the sun will turn into a beautiful nebula. We won't be here. There are also lots of nebula in Cygnus, the North American Nebula, the Crescent Nebula, and of course, the pillars of creation. Who doesn't know the pillar of creation? So the beautiful iconic image from the Hubble Space Telescope, and recently also another infrared image from the James Webb Space Telescope. And there is a picture I took, but I don't want to compare my picture with this space telescopes. And the double cluster in Perseus, because again, this is a place where you can spot the Perseids coming from. Yeah, some picture I took recently, and most of them from my light polluted sky, because if you have a narrowband filter, you're just cutting all the light pollution, and you can take beautiful picture with the right instrument. It was just with the 80 millimeter telescope. So Messier 13, the great globular cluster in Hercules, the Lagoon Nebula, and the Messier 20. Actually, these 2 pictures, I took them from the CEO a couple of weeks ago. The Crescent Nebula in Cygnus, Messier 27, the Dumbbell Nebula, and the North American Nebula. Veil Nebula is the remnant of a supernova. exploded probably 20,000 years ago. The Eagle Nebula, my version. And in Cassiopeia, there is the Heart Nebula. And at the top, there is also the Sol, part of the Sol Nebula. Let's go to the International Space Station. First half of August, no, nothing to see. After 20 August, it will be visible in the morning. There is a website, www.heavens-above.com. You have to specify your coordinates, or longitude and latitude, and you can see where the International Space Station is passing overhead. There are a few in September, so the brightest -3, -4 is the very best option. And in fact, in this image, on August 27, at 4:43 a.m., that's very interesting because from nowhere, the middle of the chart, you will see this bright light appearing from the shadow of our planet. And we reach maximum altitude 79 degrees at 4:43 and 44 seconds. And its brightness, can't really see, will be very bright anyways, is August 27, -3.9. So let's have a look and let me know. Space exploration, and then I'm done. There is a Falcon 9. Launch time will be around 12:15 a.m. And also in Falcon 9 Crew 7, it was delayed already. And it seems like this time they will try again on 6:56 a.m. And they will reach the European Space Agency. There is Japanese astronaut and the Russian cosmonaut, and they will go on the International Space Station. Then a few more space exploration spacecraft. There is something in August from the Japanese Space Agency. It's not confirmed yet. And again, there is a Soyuz Progress spacecraft launching later in August. And then something else here. And with that, I think I'm done. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to know a little more about the Perseids. So you said best viewing kind of after midnight. Should I be able to see them before that at all?
Yes, technically, you're always able to see the Perseids, but the fact that the radiant will be very low to the horizon means that you have less chances, because when the radiant is very low, the meteors are coming from, and there is more atmosphere. So it's dimming their brightness. But obviously you can see even when the sky is turning dark, and the sky is turning dark at 11 p.m., pretty much. But every moment is good toward the Perseids, not only after midnight. After midnight, you have more chances.
Very good. Ward, any questions online? No questions online. In the room, any more questions? I have a question for Claudio. Well, first of all, great images that you showed us. Very, very well done. I wanted to ask you, I haven't kept up with imaging filters. A lot of municipalities are now using LED lights. Has the effectiveness of the line filters, H-alpha, for example, decreased because of the LED?
Of course, when the brightness of the sky is very high, you need to take more sub-exposure to get the same result you can have with less exposure. So generally speaking, I can see that when I take in picture with the narrowband filter from the city, there is a gradient that is grayish. It's more challenging to remove from the final image. But there's all this software you can use. I use in technically a Pix inside, and I can try to remove as much as I can. But sometimes when you're removing the background, you're also removing some of the fine details from the nebulosity.
We have a question here. Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to know if the distance from the sun to Earth is getting closer, and is it gradually moving directions?
That's a very good question. I think that over time there are measurements, and I will probably check online, and I will reach out. It looks like all of the orbits are tending to change over time, and as well the inclination of our axis. So it's not always the same. We know that the axis of our planet is moving, spinning, and in fact, so there is an entire spinning in about 25,000 years. And what is today the northern star, the Polaris, won't be the same in 12,000 years. So the star Vega, I talked about before, will be the Polaris in a few thousand years. And same for our orbit, it won't be always the same. Hope this answer your question.
Any more questions? Okay, very good. Thank you, Claudio. We're going to go to fun facts while we change over to the next speaker.